Hi, I'm Hilary, and today I'm going to take you through a series of lower body exercises using the magic circle or Pilates ring. We'll do a few exercises and then I'll show you how to use the magic circle to do some stretches. All you'll need is a mat, your magic circle, and a small towel or pillow to rest your head on. You could also use your upper arm if you prefer. Let's start by lying down on the mat. We'll be getting into a supine position with knees bent. And we'll start with some supine adduction. That means we're going to have the circle just above the knees. Our feet are flat on the floor. Extend the arms long, palms facing up. And your gaze will be neutral at the ceiling to give yourself some length in the neck. So finding those anchor points at the back of the head, shoulder blades, rib cage, and tailbone, with a little bit of space in the small of the back for a neutral spine position. You'll go ahead and draw an inhale into the back ribs, and then exhale as you squeeze the circle. Inhale again to release, and you'll repeat that. And as you progress through this series, I want you to think about co-contracting by lifting the pelvic floor up and engaging the lower deep abdominals. And 5 more. Good. All right, nice. Now let's take that circle and you're going to put your feet through the circle. The pads of the handles will be right above your knees, and you'll go into tabletop position, which means you have a 90-degree angle here at the hip and a 90-degree angle at the knee. We're going to exhale wide, inhale, release. Again, working in neutral spine, reaching the arms long to open the collarbones, finding all your anchor points on the back, and using the exhale to press against the circle. And 5 more. Good, all right. Let's take the circle off and we'll get into our side lying position. So I'd like to do some side lying adduction, and for that we need to place the circle right above the ankles. So I find the easiest way to do that is with both knees bent, and then when I have stabilized the circle, I extend my legs long. And then I'll bring my head down to my pillow or my towel. And you can have a neutral spine from the top of your head to your tail, maybe lining up with the back of your mat, but the legs can be slightly forward for stability. So you could have a little bit of flexion in the hips. So let's reach the legs long. We're going to stabilize the upper body by placing your hand in front. We're going to draw an inhale and exhale, squeezing the circle. And as you exhale, you'll be pulling up from the pelvic floor, engaging the core and trying to keep the side waist lifted off the mat. And that will strengthen the core muscles on the side of the body. Reaching those legs long, pulsing the circle on the exhale. And 3, and 2, and 1. Let's pause there. Let's get into some leg lifts, double leg lift. So you're going to inhale to prepare and then exhale, lift the feet and lower. And again, scooping the belly as you lift, inhaling as you lower. A nice open mouth exhale will help you get deeper into the abdominals. Again, don't forget about keeping the side waist engaged. Lift it off the mat. And 5 more. Very nice. Okay, let's get into some sideline abduction, and that's where we're going to be working the outside of the legs. So we'll line the circle up right above the ankle bones, and you'll have your feet slightly flexed, your hips slightly flexed, so your feet are slightly forward of your body, the main midline of your body, and you're going to be stabilizing the circle by pressing the lower leg into the handle, and then you'll exhale as you lift and press up into that circle. And you should feel the work coming all the way up the outside of the leg into the glutes here. Again, don't forget to keep the side waist lifted, and you can focus on your co-contraction, pulling up from the pelvic floor as you engage the abdominals. And 3 more. Very nice. Okay, good. And so let's bring that down, and we'll go into a prone squeeze before we do the other side. For prone squeeze, we'll be lying face down in our prone position, and the circle will be between the ankles, right above the ankle bones. And once you've got that set, you can lower your head onto the towel or the pillow, and you can have you can also have your hands folded underneath your forehead. So the idea is to have the knees at a 90-degree angle, and we're going to find our pubic bone anchor, pull the navel to spine, make sure the shoulder blades are down the back, not riding up, and we're going to squeeze as we exhale. And think of narrowing the waist as you squeeze. We're drawing up from the pelvic floor and engaging the abdominals. Working lots of glutes here and adductors of the thigh. Now, we're going to add a variation here. We're going to squeeze and extend the legs, lifting the thighs off the floor, bend and return to the starting position. And again, squeeze and lift, extend, bend and back to the floor. Squeeze and lift, extend and up. And again, try to stabilize that circle as best you can. Use the exhale to squeeze and the inhale to lengthen. And one more. And release that. Let's go into our side lying work on the other side. So you'll bring that circle and you'll place it between the ankles. Straightening those legs. Now remember, you can have a little bit of flexion at the hip, but you're neutral in your spine from head to tail. And let's begin with a pulse and release. As you squeeze, you're exhaling, engaging the pelvic floor and the core connection, co-contracting, and lifting from the side waist. Good. And squeeze. And good. We'll do 5 more. Nice. Now let's add that double leg lift. So we're going to bring the legs up and down, again keeping the side waist engaged. And you can exhale to lift, inhale to lower. Last one there. Great job. Let's take the circle and put our legs between the handles. And this time you'll place the the handle on the floor, you'll press your leg into it, and you'll, again, with that little bit of hip flexion, we'll lift and lower in a nice parallel foot. Good. I'm wrapping my core muscles around the spine, so there's a little space between my side waist and the mat. And I'm pulling up from the pelvic floor and engaging my deep core muscles, deep abdominals. Three more. Very nice. Good. Okay, let's take the circle out and we'll do a little bit of stretching with it. So the first stretch, we'll be lying in our supine position, and we'll stretch our hamstrings by taking the foot up, placing the balls of the toes into the pad, and we're going to reach long through the heel. Keep the arms engaged in the shoulder girdle. Find your neutral spine, so actually I may want to take my pillow away. The back of my head, shoulder blades, rib cage, and tailbone are all anchored. There's a little bit of space in the small of my back, and I'm reaching and pressing through my heel to get this stretch. Now I'm going to take my leg and I'm going to lower it to the right, keeping my left hip anchored so my pelvis is stable on the mat. I'm lowering that leg, stretching the inner thigh. And now I'm going to float it back up. I'm crossing midline. The leg is coming over. And now I'm stretching the outer leg and the IT band. Again, I'm keeping both sides of my pelvis anchored on the mat. And slowly come back up. And we'll switch sides and do the other leg. So again, I find that the handle with my toe balls and I press up, reaching through the heel, and then I can use my hands to pull the leg over to my shoulder, closer to my shoulder, and getting a bigger stretch that way. Good. Now, I like to put my one arm on the floor for stability. Drop the left leg to the side, keeping the right side of your pelvis anchored on the floor. You can also think about reaching long through that leg. A modification for these stretches would be to do it with the opposite leg bent and placed on the floor like that. But if you can, reach your leg long, stretch it, and let's float the leg back up to the ceiling. We'll cross midline and stretch the IT band. And up to the ceiling. And let's come on back up to standing, and I'll show you one final stretch that we can do to finish this series. So we're going to be standing with feet hip distance apart, and we're going to hinge forward with a nice flat back until we place the handle of the circle on the floor. And then with a neutral spine, you're going to reach your sit bones behind you as you press into the circle, lowering yourself closer to the floor. You should find a nice big stretch in the back of the legs here. And we'll hold for a few more seconds, and then we'll add a tail wag to the left. So go ahead and shift your tail to the left side, feeling this stretch in the right side body. Come back to the center, and now to the right, wagging your tail to the right and holding, stretching to that side body. Come back to center. Now we'll move the circle to the left, press into it, and wag the tail to the left. So we're extending the amount of stretch we're getting in the side body. Breathe into the ribs. Try to keep your neck neutral. And come back to center. And if inch your way in with the circle, and now lift it and place it to the right. So now you'll add your tail wag to the right and breathe into the left side body. And let's bring the circle back to the center. Inhale and exhale, engaging the glutes to hinge up with a neutral spine. Great job today.